Hello everyone! Should probably do some stretches because I usually get few donations during streams, so let me do some stretches first. I just hit my light. The form we're going to be learning today is called the progressive tense. And the way to make it is you take an action verb stem, you attach go, followed by the verb 있다, and then you conjugate it. The nice thing about this form is that there are no exceptions to it. You don't need to care about what the verb stem of this action verb ends with. Followed by 있다, which you conjugate. Now this commonly could become 있어요. For an example, let's take the verb 하다, to do. Well, the verb stem of 하다 is 하. We attach 고 followed by 있어요. This is just an example conjugation. What is this form used for? It's kind of like the ing form in English. This is used for describing some sort of action that is either currently or continually happening. Something that is currently, so right now, something that's happening right now. So if it's an action verb to do, well then I am doing it currently. It can also be used for talking about something that happens continually. By continually, I mean over a period of time, multiple times. So if you said, I am doing something, it could mean either right now I'm doing it, or in general, like these days, I'm doing it. If your friend asks you, what have you been doing lately? And you want to reply, I'm studying Korean. It doesn't have to mean that you're studying Korean right now, but it could also just mean continually, like in general, over a long period of time, multiple times. Yeah, I'm studying Korean. Doesn't have to be right now, but it is some sort of general, continually, something's happening. You might also see this form used together with words that imply this. For example, 지금. 지금 means right now. 요즘. 요즘 means like nowadays or these days or lately. So you'll hear these words here. So you'll hear these words used together with this form, but they don't have to be. Just know that if you wanted to emphasize either that it's happening currently or that it's happening continually, you can add words such as these to your sentences. All right, I think we are ready to do a couple example sentences. So, 하고 있어요. I am doing 운동, exercise. What's exercise? I guess that would be good too for your muscles. 저는 지금 운동을 하고 있어요. So as for me, I am right now, 운동, exercise. 운동을 하고 있어요. I am doing exercise right now. So I am exercising right now. If you were not to add 지금 in the sentence, you could use this to say, I'm exercising right now. You could be lifting weights. You could be dabbing. 운동을 하고 있어요. I am exercising. Or you can say it in general. Your friend says, oh, you gained some muscles lately. You can say, 운동을 하고 있어요. I am exercising, as in I am exercising continually. But because we added 지금 here, now we've added emphasis. We know it's happening right now. So I am exercising right now. 저는 지금 운동을 하고 있어요. So I am exercising right now. 철수는 창문을 닫고 있어요. 철수 is, now 닦다 means to wipe, but it's actually used to say to clean. That would be like a table. Cleaning a window. Anything that you clean by wiping it is used with 닦다. This word is actually not pronounced as 닦다 most of the time. They actually say this as 닦다, 닦다. So they say 닦아, 닦고 when you actually pronounce it, but you would never write it that way. You're supposed to write it like this. 닫고. 창문을 닫고 있어요. 철수는 창문을 닫고 있어요. So 철수 is wiping the windows. We're talking about the progressive tense here, right? Progressive tense is a tense. Just like we can say the past tense, I did. Future tense, I will do. Well, progressive tense, I am doing. There are other tenses within the progressive tense that we can also do. There is a progressive tense past, and there is a progressive tense future. You can use the past tense with the progressive tense as 있었다. You'll see this as 있었어요, among others. So you could say something like 하고 있었어요, was doing. So someone was doing it. They're not doing it now, but in the past, they were continually doing something. You can also use this form in the future tense. So it goes to 있을 것이다. 것이다 gets shortened to 거다. This 다 here is just from the verb ida, so it can conjugate any way you want. So will be ing, whatever it is. But the way they're used is not quite that straightforward because you actually don't need to use either of these. Now you can, and you will see them, and that's why I'm adding them here. But anytime you want to talk about something that you did in the past, you don't need this form. Anytime you want to talk about something you're going to do, you don't need this form. You only need these forms to emphasize that it was something that was going on continually in the past or continually will be going on in the future. I think my next door neighbor is vacuuming their room. Like they're vacuuming the wall, it sounds like. You don't need to say 운동하고 있었어요 unless the person is asking what you were doing during a period of time. Like, for example, yesterday, what were you doing in your stream when you were dabbing? Well, now they're asking about a specific period of time, right? The time that you were doing all those dabs. In which case you can say, 운동을 하고 있었어요. I was doing exercise. But if your friend says, what did you do in your stream yesterday? You don't need to say, 운동을 하고 있었어요, unless you want to emphasize that it went on for a long time. You can just say the regular past tense. 운동을 했어요. I exercised. If your friend says, what are you doing tomorrow between the hours of 2 and 6? 운동을 하고 있을 거예요. I'm going to be exercising. But if your friend says, what are you doing tomorrow? You don't need to say, 운동을 하고 있을 거예요. I'm going to be exercising. Just like you don't in English. You would just say, I'm going to exercise. I will exercise. 운동을 할 거예요. So you don't really need to use the past tense or the future tense in most situations. You do need to use it if you need to talk about a specific period of time. I hope that makes sense. I wanted to teach them, but I didn't want you to think that you should or you have to use them. In fact, it'll sound more natural not to use them unless they're used in the right situations. 저는 방에서 잠을 자고 있었어요. So I was sleeping in the room, in my room. 저는 방에서 잠을 자고 있었어요. I was sleeping in my room. Again, this is for emphasizing that something happened over a period of time. When you use this in the past tense, it's like saying there was a period of time when this happened continually. You can make the negative progressive tense by either attaching an before the entire thing with 고 있다, or just attaching 지 않다, the negative verb ending, to the end of 있다. So you could either do something like this. 지금 안 하고 있어요. Now I am not doing it. I'm not doing it now. Or you can just use 지금 하고 있지 않아요. I am not doing it right now. Do not ever do this. Let's make this sentence negative, guys. 지금 하고 없어요. This is what I did, okay? And when I was a beginner, that's actually how I talk too. 지금 하고 없어요. This is wrong. Never do this, please. Make me a promise right now. I want you to hold out your pinkies to the screen, and I want you to make a promise that you will never change the 고 있다 form to become 고 없다. Okay, there we go. You can never break that promise. One more thing we have to learn. 계시다 is the honorific version of 있다. Honorific means it's more polite about the person you're talking about. It has to be about a different person. When you're doing the regular 요 form, you're going to get 계세요. So 하고 계세요. 운동하고 계세요. My grandfather is doing exercise, so he is exercising. And now it's more polite toward your grandfather. Let me give you an example of that. 아버지는 지금 운전하고 계세요. So my dad right now is currently driving. Therefore, maybe he's busy, or I don't know where he is, or he'll be home soon, or something, whatever you want to say. 아버지는 지금 운전하고 계세요. So my dad right now is driving. The present tense, which is not what we're learning today, is the regular conjugation of saying I like this, like I like kimchi. 김치를 좋아해요. 좋아해요. It's a present tense conjugation. It's not saying I liked it or I will like it, just I like kimchi. The present tense, though, has a few uses. The present tense can be used to talk about something currently happening. 저는 지금 운동해요. I exercise now. I'm exercising now. Just like the progressive tense. You can also use the present tense to talk about things that will happen. Your friend says, what are you doing tomorrow? 내일 학교 가요. Tomorrow I'm going to school. As in tomorrow I will go to school. And you can use the present tense just to talk about things that happen in general. Not necessarily right now, not necessarily in the future, but just, Like, I like kimchi, just in general. I study Korean. I enjoy learning Korean. I want to eat Korean food. It's not future, it's not right now, it's just in general. So then what's the difference then between using the present tense to say something that's currently happening and the progressive tense? Same exact meaning in English, same exact overall meaning. So then what's the difference? Oh, 무쿠. 제 고양이가 지금 음식을 먹고 없지만 물을 마시고. Oh my, 무쿠, get out of here. Yeah, don't do what 무쿠 just did. The progressive tense. Using the progressive tense adds emphasis. You could use this as an excuse. Like, hey, I'm exercising right now. I'll call you later. I'm working. 일하고 있어요. You can say 일해요. I'm working. But if you want to say 일하고 있어요, it's like, hey, I'm doing it right now. Therefore, I'm busy. It's often used for making excuses or explanations for something. You could also just use it for emphasizing that something takes a long time. This 고 있다 form can also be used to say that some sort of state, as in a state, I don't mean California or Arkansas. I mean a state of being. Certain verbs can be used with the 고 있다 form to show that someone or something is in a certain state. That state is something that continues. So it's something that at one point happened and now still goes on, but only with a few types of verbs. If you put on a coat, the state you are in is having worn the coat. So you are wearing a coat. Are wearing. It translates as ing. So now we're not saying that something's happening continually, and we're not even saying that something's happening currently. We're not currently wearing the coat right now. We're not putting it over our shoulders, right? We just mean we are wearing it, as in it's on, and I'm still wearing it. That sort of state. Anytime you are wearing clothes, you can use the 고 있다 form to mean that you have them on. Let's just use an example with 입다. Young-hee is wearing shorts. You could think of this as currently right now, Young-hee is putting on shorts. Don't look! Or Young-hee, every day she's putting on these same shorts. She's performing in a play, so she has to wear the same shorts for every performance. It's most often used with these verbs just to say that something is currently in that state. In this case, to say that Young-hee is currently in the state of having worn 영희는 반바지를 입고 있어요. However, you actually don't need to use this form to say that someone is currently wearing an article of clothing. You can also use the regular past tense to say that someone wore something, put on. As in, she's still wearing them, but she put them on. 영희는 반바지를 입었어요. She wore shorts. 입고 있어요 is emphasis that it's currently right now. She's wearing them. There's another common verb where you'll see this 고 있다 form used in this way, and that is the verb 가지다. 가지다 means to have on your person. By that I mean to have something that you could possibly carry. 핸드폰을 가지고 있어요? Literally, are you carrying your cell phone? 제가 가지고 있어요. I have it. Someone says, hey, who has my marker? Who has my blue marker? 제가 가지고 있어요. I have it. 제가 가지고 있어요. Literally, I am carrying it, but you can think of it more like just I got it and still have it. I am in that state of having the pen. Do not use this form 고 있다 with the verbs 서다, to stand up, 앉다, to sit down, or 눕다, to lie down. So if you said 그 사람은 앉고 있어요, that's like they're sitting down in their chair. So if you said 눕고 있어요, that's like, oh, they're currently lying back on bed, like they're slowly pulling their blanket over and they're like moving very slowly, getting into bed. Next, we have a form for people who are a little more intermediate, and that is 중이다. The way to make this is you take an action verb stem and you attach 는. If the action verb stem ends with a lir, which is this letter, you remove it. 살다 would become 사는. Just keep that in mind. And then after this, you'll attach 중. 중 is a common 한자. It means the middle. And then 이다, to be. So literally to be the middle of action verb. To be in the middle of doing. So whatever action verb you use, you're in the middle of doing it. This is a different form that's used for emphasizing that something's happening only right now. However, this is only for things that you are actually doing. How's the weather? Well, it's in the middle of raining. doesn't make any sense in Korean either. So things that you can do, not just things that happen. 한국어를 공부하고 있는 중이에요. So I am currently in the middle of studying 하고 있어요. Studying Korean. We're adding in 중이다. So now I'm in the middle of studying Korean right now. This would be like saying, I started studying Korean already, and I am studying it. I'm doing it for a period of time, and right now I'm in the middle of that studying. 한국어를 공부하고 있는 중이에요. Right now I'm in the middle of studying Korean. You can use this 중이다 form together with the 고 있다 form if you want, just to add more emphasis to something that's happening over a period of time. Or you can simply say, 한국어를 공부하는 중이에요. I'm in the middle of studying Korean, as in only right now. That is our lesson today. All right, everyone, thank you for coming, and I'll see you guys again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.